Warm greetings. Welcome to today's session of Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water. This session is conducted with the support of Water Resources Council of the Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry and in collaboration with W4W Foundation. This is Mansi Bal Bhargav for the host today and from the house of Wiki WRC or W4W Foundation. And we would like to take this session very quickly and go straight to the conversation today. But before that, we are just glad to share with all of you that we have been doing this conversation for 4 years and we colloquially refer to it as Blue Lips. And the conversation is aimed to share the worries and the wisdom by the woman, for the woman, of the woman in the water sector in a regular, disciplined manner. We already closed the series, to be honest, and we were just waiting for Medha Patkar, who is our guest of honor today, to do the valedictory of the innings and at the same time have a conversation with her on the kind of work she's doing and on the kind of experience we have had. And we will kind of do a exchange of learning in this session today. Medha, of course, does not require much of introduction, but still just giving us brief background to set the tone of the conversation today. We know her 4 decades of work, not only for Narmada, but also lifting the morale of women in the water sector, that how can we really stand for something which we believe as right, and for many, many people who are affected. And she's not only led the Narmada Bachao Andolan, but at the same time motivating many, many innings on water-related issues across the country. I remember inviting her 3 years ago in Jal Satyagraha on our Wednesdays for Water when we talked about Satyagraha at length. We will still dwell into Satyagraha and get more about learning from her, but today we will focus more on learning from her experience of working with women, as we said, by the woman, for the woman, of the woman, in order to celebrate our 100 plus sessions which we have conducted with our Wiki Water Resource Council members. So thank you so much, Medha Patkar, for being here and also agreeing to do this session. I know, and pardon me because for last 3 months I have been really going after you to agree to us, but it was just the date which was not getting set for us. So I hope you are ready. We'll keep it very simple conversation, and everyone is invited to engage with you on the matters we are discussing today. Very focused matter we want to discuss by the woman, for the woman, of the woman in the water sector. And I would like to start with very simple conversation because it's a welcome back for you for Jal Satyagraha. 4 decades working with, I'm sure, many, many women and all your Jal Sahelis, sisters. You have been inspiration for many of us. I would like to start with the point that who inspired you to get into this? Of course, we don't know in advance what we are getting into, but still something moved you in your life that you got into this.
First of all, congratulations to you for completing more than 100 sessions. That's a great achievement. And also, I really appreciate your choosing water sector and choosing the women-led issues. And it's very important to really have this dialogue with you all. And I would be appreciating that questions can be raised by anyone who is in this session. So thank you, Mansi. The question that you have asked is not so easy to answer because I can say that the real motivation came from my parents, who were all socially committed. And their whole idea was that one cannot live for oneself. We have to look around. So my mother was a government official, also asserting her right to work for the society at large on social causes. And my father also was a leader and carrying on the union activity. Since 16 years of age, we came out of jail after 1 year in the freedom movement. So this kind of motivation coming from the parents, I think, is very important. You don't understand, but your personality gets that, in that direction. And also, the motivation came when I worked with the urban slums in Mumbai. And I was first in the colleges when the elocution debate competitions also would give good experience of having a public speeches, and for that studying various issues. But then after that, when went to the field, all these issues, including water, right to housing, that is what the people in large number are deprived of. That really touches your heart. And then you feel that you must carry on something for them on your shoulders. And the river issue came up when I was working in Gujarat. I was working in the northeast belt of Gujarat, where water was one of the important issues. And the two rivers, Hatmati and Indrasi, on which the dam was built, it was very, very clear when I went to that area that the submerged land, when it would be opened up after winter or in winter, the big landlords who had already taken compensation for the lands lost in the dam, they were again catching hold of, and they were getting income from that land, while the Dalits and Banjara community and all were fully deprived of all their sources of livelihood, which were also affected by the dam. And they were walking a long distance to the cities. And if they did not get any employment, they would again walk back because they would not have money also to pay for the travel. So this kind of thing. And then there I heard about the Narmada in one of these sessions on the survival. And when I realized that in Gujarat, the dam was a big issue. But then when I went to the Adivasi areas in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, I realized that they were not even informed about the dam and that they face. So such riverine companies, really, I thought I should work with. And that's how I decided to leave all other work and go and stay with the Narmada riverine population. And that's how it began. In the urban slum also, water was one of the issues. Yes.
Yes. So if I may take the liberty to say that because you grew in an environment with a father who is freedom fighter, mother who is already working, was already working with women and communities, activism was actually, it just grew with you. If I use the activism word in a positive connotation, and that also I'm very much affirmed about it, but I would like to hear from you why in our society you see the word activism in a very negative connotation. I want to just give example. Today, actually, I was teaching in university and I'm teaching complex thinking to my students. And I asked who all wants to change the world. All the students, everyone wants to change the world. So that was very nice. Then I said, how would you like to change? Who all wants to become teachers? 25% wants to become teachers. Who all wants to become social worker activists? Nobody in the class. So this is where the question is now coming. And I remember recall this question asking you earlier also, why in our society where satyagraha was the very tool we used to get independence is now seen in a different light.
You see, all this is not on behalf of the whole civil society. It is only, in a
Yes.
way, if you count in numbers, it will be a small number of those who are either rulers, who are corporates, and want to really lead their own life with profit over people and fit over nature. And they are those who are not wanting activism, because activism means that actively challenging whatever is unjust, whatever is wrong, whatever is destructive, and following the values of equity, justice, secularism, and socialism against inequity, against injustice. So anyone who feels that they would be in trouble, they would not be permitted to carry on their own beneficial tasks. They are against activism, and they feel that that is something which is anti-national and anti-development. But I don't see that the common people in the civil society, and that's a large number, actually, although all of them are not heard, all of them are not given a chance to express themselves and to participate in any planning, in spite of having, India being considered as the one of the most democratic and largest countries. So they are 95% are so-called unorganized laborers, right? They are unprotected. I don't like that word unorganized. They're more organized and they are more active. And so those who really become the full-time social workers, means devoted to bringing in change towards these values of equity and justice, they are activists. So what is wrong in that? I think we should, with courage and confidence, assert that yes, we are activists, and we don't mind how much of blame or defamation are given to us by those who do not accept activism. But actually, activism is a necessary task and process which every young person, including the students that may be a part of this dialogue, should aim at becoming activists and say that, yes, I want to remain activist. They may have their own jobs, they may have their own studies and so on, but they cannot, be away from activism and be only engrossed in one's own career and competition and one's own lifestyle. That's all I would say. So yes,
Yeah, very
we all
interesting
aim at
way of
being
putting it.
activists.
Sorry. Very interesting way of putting it, and important way of conveying this to people who do not engage in activism, and the fact that we make a clear distinction between other profession and activism, especially when someone is questioning what's going on, and even simple questions are seen in a negative light. So interrogation is taken as an objection. So that actually makes me feel to ask you, because you have worked across communities and experience in different geographical setting, cultural setting. What is your experience of many women who are maneuvering their everyday life for water security? I find they to be leaders and activists of the highest order, because they take a responsibility by feeling, by really knowing that they have to do it, securing water for your family every day, walking for 4 kilometers, or compromising your health, your education, your desires, aspirations, and still doing it consistently for days and days and years. Every woman in the rural community or water stressed community, I find them the most powerful women, because they ensure water security for their house. But when we look at the main literature and discuss amongst, we call them vulnerable women, poor women, rural women. I want to learn from you how they see each other, and how do they really look at water security as an issue, and how do they maneuver. Just a small moment of pause here for everyone. We will also go multilingual, bilingual, I should say. So if, please feel free to switch language whenever you feel like, Medhatai, and also for all the participants here. I will very soon open the floor for everyone. It will be not a long conversation only between two of us, but language we can keep it more, bilingual between Hindi and English. So because I had prepared my questions in English, so मैं अभी English में ही पूछ रही हूँ. But please feel free, okay? Both, all of
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Uh, we are talking about women. Women is an indispensable force for any kind of activist activity, any kind of social movement, or even people's organization and their work. महिला शक्ति आई है, नई रोशनी लाई है, ये हमारा स्लोगन है, ये हमारा नारा है। पर हमारा दूसरा नारा भी है कि नारी के सहभाग बिना हर बदलाव अधूरा है। So without participation, including leadership of women, the change doesn't come. If we think of water sector, it's a very an issue which is close to the heart of women, because in most of the situation, with exceptions, they are the ones who are given the responsibility to really ensure that water will be available for children, for the aged in the family, the whole of the family. तो महिलाओं को पानी अगर उपलब्ध नहीं है तो बहुत जूझना पड़ता है, उनके जीवन पर बहुत असर होता है। अभी एक बस्ती की बात बताऊं, हमारी मुंबई की अंबुजवाड़ी बस्ती, जहाँ 10,000 से ज्यादा परिवार रहते हैं, ऐसी एक स्लम है। लेकिन वहां पानी जो देती है म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन, वो रात को 11-12 बजे देती है। तो पूरे दिन श्रम करने वाली महिला तक जागती रहती है और बहुत हैरान होती है, और पानी भी बहुत कम समय तक आता है। हमें उस बस्ती को पानी दिलवाया, हर 5 परिवारों को एक टैप दिलवाया। अभी भी कुछ परिवार ऐसे हैं कि जहाँ पानी नहीं मिलता है पर बड़े बड़े वाटर बिल्स आती है। ये कैसे? हमने सवाल उठाया अधिकारियों के सामने। तो जब भी ये सवाल उठाते हैं, महिला शक्ति ही ज्यादा पावरफुली कम्युनिकेट करती है। महिलाओं का मीडियम ही नहीं, ईडियम अलग होता है। जिस भाषा में, जिस भावना के साथ और जिन उदाहरणों के साथ अपने अनुभव को बयान करती है, उसका निश्चित असर होता है सामने वाले को, जो शासन करता है, those who are rulers or bureaucrats or whosoever that they challenge, including some contractors might have been given some work. Now, in rural areas also, when their generations or sources of water are affected due to the modern technology. For example, the dams built on the big dams on big rivers like Narmada. What happens? All those riverine communities, whether the hilly Adisis or others in the plain, including farmers, laborers, potters, cattle grazers, all laborers, and women are a part of all of that. Maybe women don't get the Kisan credit card, but it's Kisan, the खेत मजदूर किसान नहीं तो कौन है? क्या जमीन मालिक ही किसान है? They work. Do they have their hands in the soil? तो ये महिला मतलब क्या? महिला शब्द ही उसी से आया है, महिम लायति इति महिला, यानी मिट्टी के साथ जो खेलती है वो महिला होती है। पर ये खेल नहीं होता है, वो पसीना अपनी गवाती है, अपना खून वहां बहाती है, ऐसी काम करती है, इवन इन द क्लाइमेट चेंज एंड इंक्रीजिंग टेम्परेचर। तो ऐसे महिलाओं पर जब आघात होता है, when they face some impact due to submergence, due to dam, or pollution of water, or sukha or baad, drought and flood cycle that is faced in the present situation, which is of climate change. They have to fight for climate justice. They have to fight for getting their right to water. Now, how can that happen? That can happen only when the women are organized. And when they see that they have to really question the system, they have to show their strength. And their strength is not money, their strength is not of power, their strength is of the large number. And that Jana Shakti, Mahila Shakti, is really very impactful in the activities of a people's organization. Now, that happens, that becomes more powerful and impactful when they really are well educated about the issues, to some extent at least about the legal framework. When they feel motivated, they get motivated when they feel confident, yes, coming forward on the streets or standing in the water, Jala Satyagraha, different kinds of Satyagraha, different kinds and different forms are given to us by Mahatma Gandhi ji also. And we have to, in the present situation, find our own ways, our own path. But when they feel confident that yes, this kind of action will compel the government to act and to ensure their right, or will compel to change the development paradigm and also give a message to the larger society, not only to the government, that what is happening is affecting their life, their right to live, and so on. And this is what has happened. We have experiences a teen number as to how women really change the whole mood in any action. For example, they would dance. They would also raise issues in the form of slogans. They would have new songs. And that really would have very different impact. Sometimes when we sat inside the office, hundreds of women in front, some women like Janki in our hilly community called Jarasindi sat on the chair of the topmost official. And I said, "Oh, Baba, how do you do this?" How this? You cannot sit on that chair. She said, "No, no, I can sit on the chair because I am also Adhikar. I am also fighting for Adhikar, and they are also Adhikar. So this is also my right." Then some women would really question the officials in such a mood, in such a way that officials would not be able to answer those questions. For example, when we went inside the World Assembly, we reached there early morning. No one came to know that we had reached in front of the office. And finally, we entered. And there was one big Khan, an official, who came forward. So while we were having peaceful dialogue, but strongly, and they were facing it. And suddenly, one of our mother of Bhagwan Bhai, uh, she caught hold of her collar, his collar. And I was shocked also. I said, "My God, you see that you are violent people." So I said, "माँ, तुम ऐसा क्यों कर रही हो?" वो बोली कि मुझे एक सवाल करना है. तो ब्रिंकॉन क्या बोल रही है ये किस भाषा में? I said, "She want to ask you a question." He said, "Okay." He said, "Yes, you can ask me a question." What question she asked? He said, "Is there any woman in your family or no woman in your family? No sister, no mother, no this thing?" And he was really surprised. And he said, "Why asking this question?" She said that I'm asking this question because women are the ones who understand what are the impacts on their life with projects like big dams. So do you understand it or not? Otherwise, your women from your family only has to come and have a dialogue. That Brinkon, after years, talked to me on the phone when I was in Cambridge University for giving a lecture, that, "Oh, I cannot come to meet you, but I still tell you that I remember that question of your mother from your family." So this is the kind of experience of different kinds. And the women are having special characteristics. One is of perseverance. They don't leave even a sitting or a meeting in between, like men would, but not women. And they're very creative. So perseverance, creativity are real, and their relation with the nature, every natural resource, including water. Water cannot be separated from land. Water cannot be separated from forest. So that is the special characteristic and special force of the women's power. And that is why the women leadership has always been effective in our this thing. Although they are not given all the kind of status and role by men in decision-making process. But ultimately, when we see that in actual action, they take the decisions and they the process. In any public large gathering of ours, the hall or the space full of women, and men don't even get place to sit. They do somewhere stand of the orders. So this is the fish workers, fish women, fish worker women, the laborer women, they are more powerful than anyone else, is what we have experienced. Our hilly Adivasi women, that is a manual community, they would ask the question to collector or any official who would, with great difficulty, you come to the hilly area and reach any community, we move forward and ask them so many questions and give a speech for 1 hour or so, that the officials also would get shocked and also tired, and then they don't carry on whatever they plan the community. They have to listen to them, and that makes a lot of difference. That is our experience. And the change comes in their life also. Initially, in the plain communities where I'm sitting now, whenever there would be a meeting in any village, initially women would be on one side in the corner. But slowly, as we said, that whether in the dais or on the ground, women should be at the forefront. Then slowly change it. Otherwise, even in the family, if you come and sit and discuss, the women would stand in the door, partly behind the doors, and then serve you tea and everything. But then slowly we objected to that. We said that I cannot sit as a single woman amongst the men. I feel afraid. I feel ashamed. That's how I would make a joke with. And then the women started coming forward, and then the women would be the first in the action. That is the experience.
Yeah. I want to bring everyone's notice that this year World Water Day was actually on the theme was water and gender, and the campaign for World Water Day was where equity is, where water flows, equity grows. And actually, Medhatai, I am making an objection to the campaign, and I would like to ask the question through you. And just yesterday, I had a talk coming out on Public Global where I said we should have actually changed the narrative over these years. Instead of talking about water for women, we should talk about women for water. That's my take. Because anyway, whether it is large project or small project, you rightly mentioned कि शुरू में महिलाएं सर्कल के बाहर रहती हैं, दरवाजे के बाहर रहती, eventually they come at the forefront or at the core of the matter. So
Yes.
instead of the whole narrative that we have to provide water for women, I believe, and I'm so much in line with you, thinking that we actually should have establish a narrative woman for water, because end of the day,
Yes.
even every household, woman is taking the responsibility of ensuring water. And that's where I consider every housewoman to be the woman leader in the water sector in that way. Now, the second part of the campaign of this year's World Water Day, it says where water flows, equity grows. मुझे लगता है आपसे अच्छा ये बात कोई नहीं समझा सकता, क्योंकि इस देश में पानी अब बह कहाँ रहा है जो इक्विटी भी आएगा. इन अदर वर्ड्स, मुझे लगता है फिर से ये वाला जो कैंपेन है फ्रॉम यूनाइटेड नेशंस, इट शुड हैव बीन वेयर इक्विटी ग्रोज वाटर फ्लोज, बिकॉज वुमेन विल ब्रिंग दैट नैरेटिव अगेन, because in the water sector it is still so masculine. In your 40 years of experience, what kind of development in women's way of looking at the world of water has changed? And what kind of development or change you see in this whole masculine water sector? It has changed in 40 years. If not change, it is fine. But what are the little changes you have experienced in your work among both women and men?
Basically, the development paradigm is changed, and that is related to the natural ecosystem at large, of which water is one resource, and water is jal hai to kal hai. So water is a life support. Without water, you cannot survive. Even when we are fasting, we don't stop drinking water. We may stop eating food, but not drinking water. So life without water is unimaginable. And what is it that is happening? present development paradigm that is affecting the rivers, that is affecting the groundwater, that's affecting the hills and mountain ranges, which are the real sources of water. And this is example is Uttarakhand. See, all the kind of thermal power projects with big tunnels in the fragile ecosystem that are taken up, that has affected the houses in Joshimath, that has affected the landslides have taken place, and all the rubble is thrown into the rivers like Alda, Mandakini, Mangi, which are the tributaries of Ganga. So Namami Devi Gange is said, but is everyone protecting Ganga from all these kinds of impacts? It is the impact is by the healing communities and especially the women who carry the water from top to bottom in that region for their own family. And those resources now have come down to 10% of the original 4,600 water sources that were there. And this is because there is an very negative impact on the total ecosystem. This is what's happening in Himachal Pradesh. And saw how the houses are devastated and they are not yet given the alternative house lot to build a house. But why are the houses devastated? And how the 3 dams in Himachal Pradesh on the border of Punjab led to the flood in Punjab and devastated the farms to houses, everything in Punjab, where there is such a strong Kisan Sena in Sanyukta Kisan Morcha who are fighting for their rights, but they could not save themselves. So this kind of impact on this thing is coming up due to various kinds of encroachments on the river through the dams, barrages, through the different kind of projects, and the focus on the rivers to keep clean and unpolluted, rivers to keep flowing. So ये हमारा कुछ होना चाहिए. And now we know that we started building big dams, walking on the path of United States of America, where they took up the Tennessee Valley project and we took up the Bhakra Nandal project. And what is happening, Bhakra Nandal project also has not supplied water to the real needy communities. And similarly, Sardar Sarovar project on Narmada has not provided real water supply to the Kutch, most district of Gujarat, where to give whom the water, this big dam is built. But then this is what is understood by USA, and they have stopped building large dams since 1994. When I was one of the governors on dams, I had one-to-one dialogue with Daniel Beard, who was the chief of their department building the dams. And he said, Madam, we have not stopped building dams only to save one fish called salmon. Sometimes there is a wrong message going across. We have realized, after having looked into the costs and benefits, that big dams are paying more costs than giving the benefits. And this is what is the experience in the European countries, where they have decommissioned 4,000 and more dams. And they have now taken a resolution, passed a resolution, that by 2030, they would open up and make flow of various up to 25,000 kilometers. And USA also have decommissioned 1,951 dams. And this all should give us a message that we should not, blindly follow what we started in the beginning. We have to go back to the tradition, so-called tradition, which is a post-modern, I would say, is to be the technological choice, bringing the decentralized water management. And that we have more participation of the local community, participation of the women. Otherwise, top to bottom development paradigm, which is imposed, really excludes women excludes the real communities who have over generations saved, protected the natural resources, who have protected forests, due to which the groundwater gets filled and rivers keep flowing. There is very, very bad impact on forest when that is killed to get the diamond or coal, under the forest area. And no one thinks as to how the forest is contributing to water management, how the forest is contributing to oxygen, without which there were deaths of lakhs in pandemic period. So women really consider that they should have a water source nearby and they should be participant in any decision-making process related to the water bodies. And if they are excluded from that, they do feel angry, they do feel upset, because they are the ones who face the impact much more. And how can they be excluded from the democratic development planning process? So we should insist on their rights. And when women get ready, our women, they don't keep quiet. They can't remain silent, and they raise all questions. So in the situation of climate change, what we want is the women coming forward. The Greta Thunberg, like a young lady who is raising questions in front of World Trade Organization, takes a position trying to reach where the people are dying without food and water. This is that sensitivity about the natural resources, and especially water and land and forest related, is there in the hearts of women. And that really gives them strength and confidence, and their EDM really makes a difference.
Yeah, very well put. Let us open the floor now to all the participants. And if you have any questions, please raise your digital hand. And you can also post it if your camera is not right now in a position to be opened in the chat box. But I will highly appreciate that you open your video and ask your question. Meanwhile, I just send you one question from one of our Wiki Water Resource Council member, Dr. Swayam Prabha Das. And it is a continuation of the question I asked you before. Today, where do we stand when we talk about equity in the water? Do women share same space and power play? I must say, I'm just adding to Swayam's question in decision making, because the burden of water security still lies with women. Does it also reflect in the decision making that we have a better place? I mean, I do not agree to it, but I would still like to hear from you. How do you think we stand today in terms of women leadership in decision making in the policy? Of course, on ground we are discussing that it is women only we consider as true leaders, because they are in physically ensuring water to everyone, to their right from their family to the community. Probably I will add a part to Dr. Swayam Prabha's question. Where do we go and what all needs to be done that decision making becomes gender, equity? Because still, and you've so well put that we need to work on decentralized water systems, which are all feministic values also at a very localized level. And in fact, people are also talking about hyper local level of water management. Many successful examples. Where do we see ourselves since independence to today in terms of what equity in water decisions? Do you hear me, Medha?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Yes. So it's a question from one of our members from the council. Yeah.
Okay. Basic need is decentralization in the development planning process. That real democracy cannot be attained. And for that, there is Article 243 and 244, which is the 73rd and 74th of the Constitution, that came quite late. But still, when Rajiv Gandhi realized that with only technological power, you can't bring in equity. And he thought that the community should be the first unit for planning. And that is what is reflected in those 2 articles. And that is still not fully and fairly implemented. But we must insist on that every Gram Sabha should have the first right to plan their own development. And this will not include only water, or पूरा जो
I think we lost connection with her, and this is also a good time that I will share with all of you what we did in 100 sessions, and we'll find out that she joins again. And please note that we actually completed 100 sessions in Water Resource Council, Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water. And this is also a time I would like to share with you. Please confirm if you see the screen. Do you?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Yes.
Yes, we can see. Yeah.
And the sound?
Yeah, we are able to hear you, ma'am.
Okay. And the music of the session, of the sharing?
Not yet. No music. Yeah.
Oh,
At least not me. Yeah.
okay. Let me just reshare then. And it's a right place to reshare also. I will share again with the sound. Yes, she has joined, but we will continue playing this and then we will invite her so she gets. So Medha, we are just showing our 100 sessions for the podcast, and then I come back. We will have you right back after showing this. Just to share with everyone, because what we did in 4 years.
I could have a glimpse of the participants.
Yeah.
Work without music. That's very inspiring.
Okay, I just used the time to share with all of you, and this is also a moment that I should thank every Wiki Water Resource Council and every speaker who came to our sessions and shared their success and challenges in water sector. We are resuming. Medha Tai is back here, and I invite
Yes.
everyone to ask question. Maybe Sanaya, you can Please unmute yourself. I know you, so thank you so much for joining. And please ask
Basically,
your question.
what do they think about this decentralized development planning process?
What do
Where
I
women
think? Or
participation would be maximum possible. Not only
okay,
women, but also youth.
yes. That's a very valid question. And actually, I would also share what we asked them, Medhatai. So we actually
Yes.
asked them questions on how do they maneuver their professional life and family life. We asked them what kind of challenges they face when they are working in the water sector with manals. We asked them what is their idea of who is a leader. What
Yes.
makes a leader, and how do women rise the ladder of leadership and make themselves visible in the decision making, because this was focused on professional women, how we can create role models and how they can be part of the decision making. That was the very idea asking. And we also asked them actually what kind of changes they are bringing, what is the impact they have in their works. We have like 128 women we have actually interviewed, and across the states. We have just missed few states. I think your question is very valid, and I so much like that you asked this question. Anybody would like to take this question from Medha? Otherwise, I will have to answer her question. And Sanaya, you also have a question for Medha Tai. So anybody wants to engage with her in this question? What do you understand or think about decentralized water management? Okay, I don't see any hands raised. So I would like to give it a try and see if I do fair, and please join me. Honestly speaking, the way I would, okay, Shweta wants to join here because I want to invite most of you to engage. Shweta, over to you. And then I'll
Meghata,
fill
how
up.
are you? I met you at VGTI, if you remember me, when you had come
Okay,
to
okay.
VGTI.
Okay, Zindabad.
Yeah. So, Meghata, I think decentralized water management is where the water is governed by the people in the area where they live. It is not
Yes.
governed by a government somewhere far away. You control your
Yes.
own water, you control the quality, the quantity, all of that. That is the whole
Yes.
purpose of decentralized, right?
Yes. Right. That's true.
Anyone wants to
And
add here?
decentralization-
Pardon?
and
Yeah.
without the consent of that first unit, the outer unit, whether it is the district or state or center, cannot take a decision. This
Correct.
has to be the democratic principle that
Correct.
must be asserted, you know.
Actually, to add to Shweta, I just want to go back to all the narratives that Gandhi used there, because I know you are also Gandhian. Swaraj, एक जो
Yes.
शब्द है वो इतना पावरफुल है, और उसी से ही डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन ऑफ वाटर समझा जा सकता है कि आई एम एम्पावर्ड टू टेक डिसीजंस ऑफ माय वाटर मैटर्स, इंक्लूडिंग इट्स कंजर्वेशन एंड कंजम्पशन, who gets
Yes,
how
right.
much and where, and also that will include how to resolve conflicts within the community.
Yes, right.
So,
So
And
distributive
then
justice can be achieved through that.
absolutely.
And
also when
और
women-
हमारे समाज में था ऐसा, तालाब
Yes.
गांव सब
हाँ,
ऐसा
yes.
था.
also
नहीं,
when
अभी
women
भी
get involved,
पंचायत राज को क्या बोलते हैं? लोकल सेल्फ गवर्नमेंट.
correct.
कहाँ सेल्फ
जी.
गवर्नेंस है? ये self governance has to be the basic principle that would ensure democracy, and that would stop destructive development, that would
Absolutely.
stop disparity based development. इतनी बीभत्स
Absolutely.
असमानता, गैर बराबरी, इतनी vulgar iniquity is spreading now, not only in water sharing, but sharing everything, acquiring land, attacking the communities to get the land as far as urban slums are concerned. ये सब जो हो रहा है आज, ये कहीं भी democratically planning नहीं होने के कारण हो रहा है.
Also,
जी.
I would like to add, मैं ये ऐड करना चाहूंगी कि जब ये महिलाओं को इन्वॉल्व करते हैं इसमें ना, तो पानी की यूज भी बराबर होती है. जैसे इफ women are involved, they make sure water is taken care for domestic use, for drinking, all of that. If it is just men doing it, their first requirement is agriculture, as opposed to women, which is a small requirement, but they take care of the family requirements, so they take care of domestic use also with agriculture. I think that's a big point also in
To
decentralized.
in the decision making.
Yeah.
किसी भी सोर्स ऑफ लाइवलीहुड के साथ वाटर यूज भी जुड़ा रहेगा नहीं ऐसा नहीं, बट वाटर इंटेंसिव टेक्नोलॉजी किसी भी सेक्टर में नहीं होनी चाहिए. सो सेव वाटर, दैट इज टू बी द प्रिंसिपल. एंड ये महिला ज्यादा जान सकती है. वेस्टिंग वाटर, पोल्यूटिंग वाटर, ये जो हो रहा है वो आज की एक प्रकार के इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन के कारण हो रहा है, एक प्रकार का कंज्यूमरिज्म दैट इज चेंजिंग द लाइफस्टाइल, उसके कारण हो रहा है. और कंसर्न नहीं है पोल्यूशन के बारे में. तो वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट कैसी हो रही है, इट इज पोल्यूटिंग द वाटर सोर्सेस. सुएज ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट्स नहीं है, एफ्लुएंट ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट विच इज टू बी विथ एवरी इंडस्ट्री नहीं है. तो ये सब इतना खुले रूप से डिस्ट्रक्टिव डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है, जिस पर सवाल महिलाएं ज्यादा अच्छी तरह से.
We lost her.
I think we lost connection again with Medha.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, I think she's not around. So I can also.
Okay.
So maybe we can continue discussing and then she can also join here. And I would actually invite most of you who have been part of our conversation to engage here. I see Medha, you are here, and there's a question from Sanaya Wadia. I know her, she's from Ahmedabad, and they have been actually battling fight for a water body, and she puts in the chat box, even though the water body is a common property of an association, which is a resident welfare association, how is it that the developer is able to develop its completely reclaim and develop it for other things like international school playground as a full-fledged activity, and especially contempt playing? I know Sanaya because they're also fighting the case in the court. So lake has been completely drained, biological ecosystem totally changed, and so on and so forth. So I know she has been asking this question, how to stop this destructive work towards the lake. So I'm just throwing that question to you. What will be your advice to people like Sanaya Wadia, who is trying to fight for this lake? And I have more people in Ahmedabad who are fighting for their local lakes.
If such a issue is raised quite late, when the project becomes a fait accompli, it becomes very difficult to stop it. So we have to be very attentive regarding the development planning. While every city has a development plan. Now in Mumbai, every ward we have to intervene. When they start having a plan for a few years period, and they say for 2034 we are planning this, but whether the real local people are consulted, even the elected representatives do not hold regular meetings with their own constituency, where their own voters who give them power. So it is necessary to really be attentive. So such young activists must keep an eye on whatever is happening around. If any construction starts at any place, they must inquire as to whose land was it, and what is the construction for, and what is the DPR for the project, detailed project report. And they have the right. Up till now, the Right to Information Act of 2005 has given good power to people. Now changing that act to Data Protection Act, there is a certainly bad impact, and this right is denied in many ways. But still, that act is being used, and we get all the information about, for example, projects which are Narmada Link projects. At 70 places, they are they are lifting water and taking it to different cities, and they are gaining vote bank from that, and maybe also note bank. So to get all the information about the social, economic, and environmental aspects, the various ways and means that are followed, whether impact assessments are done or not, what kind of clearances they have got from the various authorities, whose clearance is a must, because now various environmental acts are not followed. The Air Act, Water Act, Forest Conservation Act of 1980 and 1986 Environment Protection Act, all these are not given the due place and due role. So Ministry for Environment and Forest is in a way really following like a bonded labor. whatever is decided by the rulers. And rulers are necessarily hands in gloves with the investors. And those are the real beneficiaries, the contractors, the corporates, etc. So we have to really get all the files out first through Right to Information Act, and then check whether all the impacts are assessed or not, and at whose cost, whose benefit. And then that can be questioned. And questioning is both कानूनी और मैदानी, दोनों प्रकार की लड़त जरूरी होती है. So you have to follow the legal action, but don't start with legal action. Start with the mass action first, and don't deny dialogue with the rulers, with the decision maker. We have always said that this is a part of the satyagraha. When satyagraha is a pledge for truth, we have to challenge them, but we have to also challenge ourselves through the various forms of satyagraha, including fast and jala satyagraha and so on. तो ये सब यूथ की एक कैडर इसके लिए बनानी पड़ेगी. तो जिस एरिया में ये इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है, उस एरिया में अगर एक यूथ, मतलब not only the young boys but also girls and also the others, sensitive intellectuals also we should take in. So this kind of a combination and this kind of an alliance really helps to bring in the challenging force. तो ये करना जरूरी है. और अगर ऐसा हो रहा है तो कहीं ना कहीं सत्याग्रह का रूप स्टॉपिंग देम फ्रॉम टेकिंग अवे द वाटर. हमारा पहला प्रायोरिटी क्या है? ये प्रायोरिटाइजेशन इज रॉन्ग. दिस पोजीशन कैन बी टेकन बाय young activists like Sania, and she can take everyone together, and that will have an impact, no doubt about it.
So I want to just add here and ask your experience, and probably if people are not having more questions, I will also try to make it now towards closure, because I know you had a long day with courts and movements and here and there. You have worked both in urban setting and rural setting and different challenges. What my experience tells me, having worked on urban water bodies, is that urban people only come to action when they are directly affected. Whereas my experience of engaging with women and community, rural community, even if within the community someone else is affected or the community at large is affected, the cattle are affected, they come together and discuss. Urban people take more time to come together and discuss. What has been your experience of working with urban and rural community? Do you find them similar in their approach, or is there something striking different, especially what urban people can learn how to come together? I ask this question being an Elinor Ostrom scholar for her whole life working on how to come together. सब जो मुद्दा सॉल्व होगा कि नहीं वो तो बात की बात है, मुद्दा उतना बड़ा नहीं होता. कमिंग टुगेदर इज अ बिगर issue and I think time consuming activity. What has been your experience? Then we ask, maybe we take all the questions now. I saw Sanaya, you had your hands raised, and Kirti, maybe you can ask also your questions. So then आप एक साथ ले लीजिए और हम closing remark भी कर देंगे. That better for you. है ना?
That's good.
Kirti, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll put my video on. Hi. Hello,
Hello.
Madam. I was really looking to hear from you, and I was really looking for this webinar. Yes. So one of the things I'm just, in addition to what Mansi ma'am has already, I think, questioned, I was just wondering when you said decentralized water management system and water distribution in cities specifically. How do we really get that, and what do we really mean by decentralized in urban scenario? Because the structure is already there, I mean, all the infrastructure is already there. How do we really, what basically I'm just trying to understand, what do we really mean by that, and where does it start basically? Yeah, that was my question. Yes.
As far as urban society is concerned, as Mansi has said, it's true that that kind of unity and integrity, as much as it is in the rural areas, and beyond rural, in the Adivasi tribal hilly areas, it's not in the urban area. And one reason is that there is a lot of disparity within the urban community, but the community administratively is known to be a ward. Ward is a very big unit. So we really give the Basti as a unit and the space and the scope to participate. But अभी बस्ती में भी एक ही बस्ती अगर आप ले लेंगे तो उसमें कुछ तो हाई राइज बिल्डिंग्स है और कहीं उसके बाजू में स्लम है. इस प्रकार का चित्र आज बहुत ही दर्दनाक महसूस करता है. तो but we have to really therefore have the community planned in our own way, and that community should decide कि उनके हाथ में अभी क्या क्या sources है and who are taking over the decision making and taking over even that resource, whether it is water or land. And then उसके ऊपर सवाल उठाना and अपना जो alternative है way of giving water etc. उसके लिए आग्रह करना. जैसे मैंने कहा कि बहुत जगह ऐसा होता है कि म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन जो पानी छोड़ती है एक जगह स्टोर करके, they store through the dams or through the big lakes or whatever, but from there when they take it for distribution, it first goes to the elite communities and at the end to the slum community. पर इसका पूरा अभ्यास करके कोई सवाल उठाए तो उनको बदलना पड़ता है, ये हमारा अनुभव है. और गरीब बस्ती तो पानी देते भी नहीं. They say you are unauthorized. Now what is unauthorized? They are the laborers, they build the buildings, they decorate the urban cities. Who are they? है ना. तो उनको क्या केवल देवों के महोत्सव के लिए लेना है गरीब यूथ को और महिलाओं को? They are the real निर्माता और उनका अधिकार मंजूर करना चाहिए. तो इसीलिए महिला अगर एकत्रित आती है तो ज्यादा ही अच्छा, पर होल कम्युनिटी शुड राइज अप एंड से. तो हमारा सिद्धार्थ नगर बहुत सालों तक आग्रह पड़ने के बाद कि अनऑथराइज्ड नहीं है, हम लोगों का भी अधिकार है टू हैव द बेसिक एमिनिटीज इंक्लूडिंग वाटर एंड पावर. एक एक करके हमने लिया है एक बस्ती को. तो नहीं तो बिजली भी नहीं देते थे अनऑथराइज्ड कम्युनिटी करके. हमने एक एक करके अनऑथराइज्ड कम्युनिटीज को भी टाटा पावर से दिया. And Tata Power had a very different approach when we had dialogue than some of the other companies who are very much corporatized companies. तो ये बहुत जरूरी है कि वो छोटे यूनिट को एक अधिकार देना चाहिए, उनकी डिमांड्स को ध्यान में लेना चाहिए फॉर डेवलपमेंट प्लानिंग प्रोसेस. ये आर्टिकल 243 and 244 of the Constitution इसका अधिकार देती है रूरल एंड अर्बन दोनों को, पर इसका ऑपरेशनलाइजेशन एंड इम्प्लीमेंटेशन नहीं होता है. तो ये हमको करना चाहिए. उसके लिए इवन आउटसाइडर्स कैन कम एंड ऑर्गेनाइज अ कम्युनिटी. हम लोग जैसे स्लम कम्युनिटी में ऑर्गेनाइजेशन करते हैं तो ये बहुत जरूरी होता है. लोकल लीडरशिप के महत्व होता है, विमेन लीडरशिप का महत्व होता है, बट आउटर एक्टिविस्ट coming there and giving them support, giving them some knowledge about the laws and about the administrative structure and the democratic rights, etc. ये भी जरूरी होता है. So all this needs to be the factor.
Yeah, Anubhuti is our research scholar at W4W and she has very interesting question. एक दो बार मुझे भी पूछ चुकी है, and maybe it's a good idea we give her the space to ask questions. She's also the one who has helped us organize this session. So thank you so much, Anubhuti. Over to you.
थैंक यू मैम. नमस्ते ताई. बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि आपने हमें ज्वाइन किया इस सेशन को वाइंड अप करने के लिए. आई वांटेड टू नो कि आपके हिसाब से क्या ये आंदोलन इज इट सक्सेसफुल? लाइक पीपल सी इट कि हम जो चाहते थे, आप जो चाहते थे कि डैम्स का डेवलपमेंट ना हो, वो नहीं हम रोक पाए, बट हाउ डू यू डिफाइन सक्सेस फॉर दिस आंदोलन? Like it changed how people looked at displacement, development, justice, so many things. So I wanted to hear your side of the story. Do you think is it successful or yeah?
देखो, नर्मदा बचाओ आंदोलन, if you are referring to, that has achieved in a way many things. World Bank को भी इसकी दखल लेनी पड़ी. The World Bank was funding with only 5% of the then determined cost of the project, which was 4,200 crores. When World Bank withdrew the funding, because of our dialogue, their field में आना, inspection करना हमारे साथ एक, then they decided to review the project. And that review with the topmost UNDP Vice President, Canada in charge, anthropologist from UK, and one environmentalist from America, who all came and had a dialogue, and they were very happy to know about the development paradigm, our vision, and our questions. And they also were very, very equally giving chance to the government authorities. So with impartial kind of process, they took up and they came to the conclusion that even rehabilitation was not planned, environmental studies were not completed, and it was against the World Bank's own rules and regulations, and also violating the laws of the land, that is India. So all this also was achieved, and finally they withdrew the funding. But we progressed, we continued, because government did not drop the dam. So dam did not stop, but it had to be stopped with the Supreme Court's order for 4 years. And then 1 year, 6 months, 1 year, 6 months, because we continued Kanuni or Maidani ladat. And then now about 50,000 families from 3 states are somehow rehabilitated. But rehabilitation में समझो हाउस प्लॉट मिला है, घर बन गया है, लैंड मिली है अल्टरनेटिव 20,000 फैमिलीज को, 3 स्टेट्स का सबमर्जेंस एरिया कंसिडर करते हैं तो भी वहां अगर कुछ कमी है, some of the land is not good and not cultivable, etc. And a few thousand families are still remaining to get all their rights. So partial rehabilitation भी जिसका बाकी है, हमको तो वो सब संघर्ष करना पड़ा है. अभी तो लेटेस्ट हमारे घायल वैली में ये बात है कि more than 32,000 families are given land for housing, a house plot, but that was not registered ever. So अभी कोर्ट ने हमारी केस में एक दखल लिया है and directive दिया है कि immediately registry करो, otherwise without legal rights they have built the houses and somehow you may build in some time bulldozer raj. ये कैसे होगा? तो हमको भी मध्यस्थ बनाया है कोर्ट ने, एक जवाबदारी दी है, एक अधिकार दिया है. तो ये सब एक सवाल तो हम उठा ही रहे हैं, पर जितना भी रिहेबिलिटेशन हुआ है उतना दुनिया में किसी भी बांध में नहीं हुआ है. और नर्मदा घाटी में जो अन्य बांध है, 30 बड़े और 135 मीडियम साइज डैम्स, बट वो 30 डैम्स बने नहीं है, पर जो भी डैम्स बने हैं उसमें से उनमें भी किसी भी डैम में ये नहीं मिला है. तो क्या खोया क्या पाया is to be seen. Women's rights to land and to rehabilitation also we could attain only through our struggle of various kinds. तो ये जरूरी है समझना कि हर आंदोलन से कुछ ना कुछ मिलता है, बट नॉट नेसेसरीली यू गेन 100% एज पर योर विजन. तो कंटिन्यू करना ही पड़ता है. पर ये आज नर्मदा के जो पॉलिसी है वो सभी लोग चाहते हैं कि उनके प्रोजेक्ट्स में भी एप्लीकेबल हो जाए. तो ये होता है, तो हम लोगों को कंटिन्यू भी करना पड़ता है. ये हर आंदोलन का अनुभव है. वी आर नॉट ओनली नर्मदा आंदोलन, वी हैव अ नेशनल अलायंस ऑफ पीपल्स मूवमेंट्स. हमारा अर्बन में घर बचाओ घर बनाओ आंदोलन है, वो स्लम्स के लिए है, वो अर्बन पुअर के लिए है. और हमारा श्रमिक जनता संघ है, वो लेबरर्स के लिए है. अब लेबरर्स तो अर्बन स्लम्स में भी है, रूरल कम्युनिटीज में भी है, और उनका भी अधिकार, लेबर लॉज ही अभी जब बदल रहे हैं तो कैसे हम हासिल करेंगे विदाउट यूनियनाइजेशन एंड विदाउट नोइंग द लेबर्स राइट्स. तो ये सब करना जरूरी है.
जी, आपके ही शब्द मैं कह रही हूँ, सत्याग्रह पे जो आपने कही थी, सत्य का आग्रह, और आपके ही शब्द मैं फिर से ला रही हूँ कि इसका कोई अंत नहीं है, और इसको इस तरह से नहीं देखा जा सकता कि ये पूरा सक्सेसफुल हो और कोई फुल स्टॉप नहीं है, क्योंकि ये एक संघर्ष है जिसको करते रहना है. एंड कहीं ना कहीं
और निर्माण, मानसी, दोनों ही. मतलब we say no to certain things which are causing destruction, displacement, disparity. and आज तो इतना भयंकर चित्र है, हर नदी पोल्यूटेड है, कोई भी पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड सही कंट्रोल नहीं कर रहा है. They are controlled by politics. एंड पॉलिटिक्स एंड कॉर्पोरेट्स की जो यूनिटी हो गई है, इट्स इलेक्ट्रल बॉन्ड्स ही केवल नहीं है, बॉन्डेज है अलग काइंड का, उसके कारण बहुत ही विनाश हो रहा है और कोई सोच नहीं रहा है. वेरी इलीगल सैंड माइनिंग इज गोइंग ऑन एंड रिवर्स आर अफेक्टेड. ये सब जो हो रहा है, तो अभी हमारी महिला कहती है कि पानी मिलना मुश्किल है, नशा के लिए शराब मिलना आसान है. आज
जी
ऐसा हो गया है. तो ये सब
जी
हमको ध्यान में लेकर सवाल उठाने ही पड़ेंगे और ऑल्टरनेटिव देना पड़ेगा. अभी ऑल्टरनेटिव्स के स्मॉल स्मॉल डेमोन्स्ट्रेटिव इफेक्ट ये भी बहुत जरूरी है. हम कैसे वाटर मैनेजमेंट करेंगे या अपने अपने क्षेत्र में अगर उदाहरण खड़े करेंगे तो दूसरों को भी एक प्रकार का मोटिवेशन एंड इंस्पिरेशन मिलेगा. एक न्यू पाथ ऑफ चेंज, नॉट नेसेसरली रिवोल्यूशन but at least transformation is possible.
So a new path for change, not maybe the revolution, but a slight transformation itself is a one step ahead. I think that's a very good moment कि आज का सत्र हम यही खत्म करते हैं, क्योंकि मुझे एहसास भी है कि you had a long day, you had so much of things to do, and still you managed to come to us. Thank you so much, Medha Patkar, for this wonderful session and enlightening us. You keep inspiring us, and honestly, I was feeling to let the conversation flow like water, but we have to be mindful of your time and your energy. You emit so much of positive energy to all of us. May you continue remain inspiration.
We must ensure that rivers keep flowing
Yes.
freely and unpollutedly.
जी,
तो इसके
मैं
लिए
उसके लिए जी
उत्तराखंड के कवि की एक गीत है सुंदर. मैं पूरा नहीं गाती पर वो लाइन आपको सुन.
जी प्लीज सुनाइए.
पर्वत से चिट्ठी ले जाना तू सागर की ओर, नदी तू बहती रहना, रेवा तू बहती रहना, नदी तू बहती रहना, रेवा तू बहती रहना. भ्रष्टाचारी गुंडे खुद को कहते सूरज चांद, बसे बसाए घर को उजाड़े बड़े बड़े ये बांध. चाहे कोई भी आ जाए, चाहे कोई भी आ जाए, आए मुनाफा खोर, नदी तू बहती रहना, रेवा तू बहती रहना. ये बहुत जरूरी है. और नदी एक जीवित इकाई है. हम रोज सुबह प्रार्थना में कहते हैं कि नदियां न पिए कभी अपना जल, वृक्ष न खाए कभी अपना फल, अपने तन का मन का धन का दूजे को दे दे जो दान रे, वो सच्चा इंसान इस धरती का भगवान रे. तो ये हम रोज प्रार्थना में कहते हैं ताकि we all feel motivated to live and work not only for ourselves but for the society at large, for the humanity, for all living beings, for the nature to be saved with humanity. Otherwise 1500 scientists are threatening, giving warning that even humanity will be finished. So today, all the kind of wars that are going on, and one war is with nature. How can we really have a real, basically living relationship amongst all human beings beyond caste, religion, and gender discrimination? And how can we have the best relationship with the nature also is the challenge that we should take up. I think all your young participants, and young youth is defined not only based on age, but based on activism. So I really salute them and we expect a lot from you all. Thank you so much. Zindabad.
Thank you so much, Medhatai, for this wonderful closing remark and speech. And I think हम सब तो आपकी तरफ देखते ही हैं. हम अगर हम उसका अंश भी बन जाए, if we can become the drop of the ocean you actually share with us, I think we have lived our life in that sense. Thanks all of you, all the participants who have been here, and thanks all the Wiki Water Resource Council members, all the research associates, and all the speakers of Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water. We close the session today. And I hope our new leadership, which is coming from April, they will start something very interesting, because the council is now 100 members plus. So we invite all of you
Okay.
also to join the council. It's a powerful
Good.
place to exercise and leverage what we should do for the society. Thanks a lot, all of you.
Okay.
Please take care.
Shall
We
we
see
do
each
a
other.
shall we do a picture?
Thank
Shall we do a
you.
picture of everybody?
Yes, I
Mansi?
think that's a good idea. Maybe all of you, if you can open your video, I can have a slide, page. That will be nice. Although most people have left now because we are very much ahead of time. Supriya and Madhu. Hi, Madhu. Good to see you back, and hi, Suresh. Okay, I have all of you now. So thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.